Okay, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon for this webinar on Molori. We'll be chatting about Molori Safari in Madikwe and also Molori Mashuma up in Mana Pools in Zimbabwe. As always, the webinar will be recorded. We'll be sending out the recording over the next couple of days, and we will also include in that mailer, we will include their agent kit, their rates for 2024 and of course 2025, and anything else that you will need to start selling both of these properties. So we're starting in South Africa with Molori Safari. Molori Safari has been around for about 10 years and is located, and is located, so Madikwe up in the north here, and we're located in the east of Madikwe Game Reserve. Madikwe Game Reserve is a Big Five reserve. It's an incredible game viewing destination. And what's really nice is that the properties on Madikwe kind of all work together with the game viewing. So you kind of are, we were there for just a couple of nights and saw so much in just a few game drives. And so I think that collaboration really makes the experience there quite amazing. We are, as you can see, very close to Madikwe East Airstrip. It's about a 20-minute drive. That just kind of depends on what you see on the way. So often when you land and then you're on that sort of first game drive, you stop for absolutely everything. So, if you drove straight through, it would probably only take about 15 minutes. But of course, people are going to be stopping. The reserve is absolutely beautiful. The landscape here is stunning. We were here when it was very, very dry, and it's got that amazing kind of bright orange sand here. And the game viewing, as I say, is amazing. The lodge here is very small, so we are just 6 rooms, and there's a real focus here on art and design. So the rugs that you'll see throughout this presentation are quite cool and quirky, and they're actually designed by different South African designers. So very cool kind of art that they have had then kind of adapted into these rugs that you'll see throughout the main areas and also in the rooms as well. But there is art kind of everywhere, and lots of kind of sculptures, art on the walls, and different kind of installations. So it's a very, you can wander around the whole of the kind of lodge as if it's an art gallery. And there's lots of different places to kind of break out and different spaces to relax. So it gives it a really private feeling. You're only one of 6 other rooms here, and therefore it is very kind of intimate and feels very private. There's a huge main pool that wraps around the front of that main area and has this incredible view. And we also, in the lodge, have this amazing hide. And I think what both lodges, Molori Safari and Molori Mashuma, do very well is that incredible kind of in-lodge experience where, if you were to miss a game drive, I know so often none of us want to, it's you feel that complete FOMO and real guilt if you don't go out on an activity. But actually here at Molori Safari, this hide is so stunning and is just teeming with games so often that you kind of can have that amazing safari experience right from the lodge. You can walk down here at any time of day. We had our breakfast set up in this area up here. We actually had a dinner up here as well. And you can see that there's this screen here, and you can see what's coming around to the waterhole, and then you can walk down into the hide area. And it's very beautifully designed, as with the rest of the lodge, and it's very comfortable. You've got comfy sofas here, these comfortable chairs, and it really is teeming with game. This was, we sort of popped down here in the middle of the day at one point, and this was what we had just in kind of like for half an hour to an hour down here. And then the next day, we actually did make that difficult call to not go out on our final game drive. We'd been away for a bit, and we were both quite tired, and we decided to have breakfast at the hide and then to sit down here, and we were rewarded with this amazing view. So we had about 25 elephants come around the waterhole, and it was raining, so we thought there'd be water elsewhere, and we still had an amazing experience, and did not feel guilty for not going out on a game drive. So here we have got 3 options for 2-bedroom suites, and then we also have 3 options for 1-bedroom suites. So we have 2 presidential suites. These have got 1 very large main bedroom, and then they have a sort of main area. They come with a private butler and private vehicle, and then there is a smaller 2nd bedroom. So these work really, really nicely for families. You know, it's great for 2 couples, provided they know that those 2 rooms are quite different. But you've then got this stunning, huge pool with also a jacuzzi as well. And you've got those very same views over the reserve there. We've got 1 2-bedroom family suite. This is called such because there is only one bathroom in this suite. So we do call it a family suite so that we don't get those kind of 2 couples, because you do have to share that downstairs bathroom. And then upstairs we have that 2nd bedroom. And then this one also comes with a pool, and we've then got our 3 1-bedroom premier suites. So these are perfect for couples. You've got that gorgeous fireplace, which is very welcomed during those cooler months, and a little living area and deck as well. But naturally, this area works really well for family and multi-generational safaris, being that it is malaria-free. So there's no need for malaria, anti-malarial tablets when you're here. And so it makes it really popular for families with younger children. There are lots of, as I said, lots of different places to hang out in the lodge, and there's lots of different kind of levels as well to get different views. And we do have a stargazing up in the observatory as well. The dining here, not just the lots of incredible locations to dine, but the food itself was absolutely stunning. A real kind of fine dining food experience. We had one of the nights we were here had a 5-course tasting menu with matching wines, but they can do gin and whiskey pairings as well. And the food really was that kind of European fine dining standard, which I always just find incredible when you're out in the bush and you can get that incredible standard of food. We have a spa and gym here as well. So there's 2 treatment rooms. There's also a cold plunge pool. There's a sauna, and then the gym as well. And as I said before, it's a Big 5 reserve. So not only have you got an amazing in-lodge experience here, but out in the reserve, you know, the game is absolutely abundant. You can see rhino here. And the other Big 5, and also it is very well known for its great population of wild dog as well. So you've really got an amazing, you know, host of animals to see, as well as just having an incredible experience in the lodge. Moving on to Molori Mashuma, this is the newer product out of the pair. Mashuma only opened sort of its proper opening this year on the 1st of April when the Mana Pool season began. So it will be open from the 1st of April to the end of October. Many of us do know that October in Zimbabwe is very, very hot. So that those sort of brilliant times to come are that sort of between June and September. And actually they have been saying that at the moment it has, you know, the water has been drying up in lots of places in the park, and so the animals are starting to congregate around those pools that Mana Pools is so well known for, and down by the river as well. So it is just an amazing wildlife destination for you know, for that sort of congregation of animals around the water. Also the light here is just stunning. So you have, you know, the light streaming through the trees. It's an incredible, incredible destination for photography. And just the park itself is so beautiful. It feels a privilege just to be on the back of a vehicle driving through, whether you see anything or not. But the game here, you've got the elephants that come up on their hind legs. You can head down to the river and it feels sort of incredible and green and abundant. But then back from the river, you have completely different topography as well. So Mana Pools is here just on the border with Zambia. So anyone who knows the Lower Zambezi National Park, which we have worked with lodges in that park for many years. So you are just over the river. So you're looking out into Zambia. And getting to Mana Pools can sometimes be a bit of a mystery, I think, for some. You have got commercial flights from Harare, Vic Falls, and also Kariba. So it's fantastic for including in a wider Zim itinerary. And the international flights into Harare and into Vic Falls are fantastic. We can also do charters from South Africa. That does involve a sort of stop for immigration, and then a hop straight onto Mana Pools after that. And we fly into Mana Main airstrip. So you can see here on this map where we've got Mana Main just here, and then Molori Mashuma just back here. So we are in a private concession. We also have our private concession Zebrevlei as well. And these are areas that we, the guides traverse, particularly in that, first thing in the morning, and also last thing in the evening as well. It means we can be out walking for longer because we have got our own private area. So Molori Mashuma is all about this incredible pan that it's based on, the Mashuma pan. The pan is here year round. It is pumped a little bit towards the end of the season if it is getting particularly dry, and it provides this incredible haven for wildlife. So it is a real hot spot. They've been having incredible sightings down here recently as the water's kind of drying up throughout the park after the rainy season. I think the rainy season was maybe not so fantastic this year in Zimbabwe, and so it is drying up now in the park and leaving these pans where the water just flocks to. The main camp, it's all situated overlooking that water. So the main area is completely open. We've again got a really stunning kind of art and design vibe here, very different from that of Molori Safari. You've got very cool pops of color throughout, but contrary to what you might think, it doesn't take away from the views and looking out to the kind of nature around you, but it does provide sort of quite a cool backdrop. Lots of kind of design through the textures and the shapes, and utilizing Zimbabwean designers as well throughout. You feel kind of the nature has been really, it's been built very sympathetically around the trees by the side of this pan. So again, a very small camp here. We've got only 6 rooms. We've got 4 of these premier suites. These are 1 bedroom, and they've all been angled, and there's ever so slightly, everything's angled ever so slightly differently in each room to ensure that the views of that pan are really being made the most of. Particularly the baths. I know they angled the baths completely differently in each room, and they're in a slightly different location to ensure the best views of that water. You've got an indoor and outdoor bathroom here, and a lovely big decked area. And then we have the double suites. So these are both 2 bedroom, there's 2 of these. You've got a huge indoor living space here, and then also an outdoor area as well, with living and dining. And there is a private plunge pool here too. That plunge pool has got excellent views of the pan, of course. And then you've got 2 ensuite bedrooms. Now, as you can see, the design is very similar here. The only difference is that the bathroom is just behind the bedroom. And the design inside is just absolutely stunning. And again, you've got an indoor and outdoor bathroom. And I think what Mana Pools for me was really amazing for was that kind of the fluidity of the safari. So we didn't go out on a drive or go out on a walk. We went out and we saw what we saw, and we might have hopped out the vehicle for a little bit and walked for a while and then come back and driven on. And it felt like we were really kind of going with the flow and just seeing what we found while we were out there. If there was no need to hop out the vehicle, we didn't. If we wanted to walk for an hour, then we could. But I really loved that, and it made it feel very, it flowed really nicely. And I think that's a real testament to the guides as well. I think it's very well known in the industry that the Zimbabwean guides are some of the best. They have got a very rigorous training, and you could really tell that. I mean, our guide was absolutely incredible. These are some photos from when we were there. Heading out on foot, it's very well known for in Mana, and we did this a lot. And our guide was incredible for, first of all, making us feel incredibly comfortable being out of the vehicle, but also just for taking in absolutely every little detail of the bush. And it really kind of just opened up how much more there is than just seeing that big game. You've got amazing wildlife encounters to be had here with wild dog. We walked and found lion, which was quite incredible, and slightly kind of the heart raced a little bit. But also getting down to the river, I think, is a really lovely part of Mana, and it's obviously a huge part of the park. I mean, when you look at how big the national park is and how little of it is actually river frontage, it's quite incredible, but it is a huge part of the park. And so what was lovely when we were staying here, we spent a whole day where we got up very early in the morning, we drove down to the river, you know, taking our time, hopping out of the vehicle, hopping back in, you know, sort of taking our time to get down there. And then we had a beautiful bush breakfast right on the water. The views were just incredible. It sort of takes your breath away. And then we spent the morning kind of traversing along the river and having that very different experience to what you have when you're in the sort of depths of the park. And then we didn't come back to camp until kind of early afternoon when we had lunch. And then we actually spent the afternoon in camp, and because there was so much in terms of the game coming down to the water. We had so many elephants, warthog, we had amazing bird life. And so we had a really cool day where we got to experience that amazing river frontage, but also the benefits of being on a plan in a park that was at the time incredibly dry. We were there in October, so it was hot. This is a quick look at the rates for Molori Safari, which is of course quoted in Rand, but we've popped a little approximation of the exchange rate there. And then also at Molori Mashuma, of course, that's both all-inclusive there. We do have some specials, particularly at Mashuma for this year. So do pop me a note about that if you are interested in getting those, and we can make sure you receive those. But that takes me to the end of the presentation. And of course, we will be sending out absolutely everything you need to be selling both of these properties. As you can see, I'm very happy to talk quite passionately about them. So if you would like product training for your teams or anything like that, do please get in touch and we will be very happy to oblige. Thank you very much and have a good rest of your afternoon.